Alright guys, welcome to This Week in Wrestling, covering everything that's gone on in the world of wrestling over the course of the past week. Now we'll kick off this week's show with some huge news that broke Friday night when it was revealed that former TNA star Austin Aries made a shock NXT debut at Friday's TV tapings in Orlando. Now the last time we've seen Aries on TNA TV was in November when he took part in the TNA World Title Series for the Vacant Championship, but because TNA taped those matches so far in advance, he'd actually left the company months earlier on June 28th. So it would appear that this deal with the WWE might have taken place a while back to allow time to pass and for his final TNA matches to air, giving them plenty of time to finalise a contract and also design logos and merchandise, as Aries' debut featured a new logo that was used on his Titantron and also a new shirt which is now available to buy on WWE.com, similar to how it was when Samoa Joe came in. So that to me says the contract is in place and Aries is going to be sticking around NXT for the long term, unlike James Storm, who didn't have a contract in place and his match was simply to test the waters. As we switch focus to the Royal Rumble, we now have some confirmed news, as Jerry Lawler announced on Twitter that he won't be ringside for commentary at the show, but he will be part of the pre-show and the Royal Rumble panels with Renee Young, while the three-man commentary team will consist of Michael Cole, JBL and Byron Saxton. So reading this news, I was initially surprised, but I have a feeling that'll lead to Kingpin ending in the Royal Rumble match, because remember, this is all for the WWE Championship and it's something that the King has never won, so it makes sense to have a lot of guys really coming out of the woodwork for one last shot at the brass ring. Sticking with the Royal Rumble, and as ever, rumours are rife about who will see make a surprise appearance, and one name that does keep popping up is Tough Enough winner Josh. It sounds though like he won't be in the Rumble, as he seems to have gathered heat from the locker room after calling the social outcast the social jobbers on Twitter. He then followed that up by complaining about former NXT stars being buried, and that led to the likes of Kevin Owens, Stardust, Bull Dempsey and the entirety of the social outcasts all taking shots at the Tough Enough winner and even going as far as blocking him. Finally, we can't talk the Royal Rumble without once again mentioning AJ Styles, as he's set to make his WWE debut shortly, but will it or won't it be at the Royal Rumble? What we do know is that Styles is set to begin with the WWE on Sunday and that he will be backstage at the show, but while there's no confirmation that he will appear on TV, he did address the crowd at his final show last week in the UK, saying if there is a spot in the Rumble, he's gonna kick some ass. So it looks like AJ is ready should there be a spot for him in the Rumble, but over at his old stomping grounds in TNA, they came out this past week to try and derail any plans for Styles by announcing that they spoke to both him, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson back in December and agreed a deal in principle, but when they went away to draw up the contracts, they never heard back from any of the three parties. So it appears like TNA have done this to try and put WWE off debuting Styles, but as Styles' lawyers come out and said, nothing was ever signed with TNA and they were well aware that WWE were interested in bringing them in, but TNA stalled on putting the contracts together, and based on past experiences, that put AJ off re-signing with the company. So TNA's plans to scupper WWE's plans for Styles obviously didn't work, but it did get them the attention they were seeking, just not the right kind, as it came off sounding bitter and twisted. It also seems to have backfired on them, as by publicly stating that they were in negotiations with Carl Anderson, they have admitted to contract tampering, as he was under contract to New Japan Pro Wrestling, meaning not only is the decision to run the story not hampered WWE's plans, but they've also dropped themselves in a potential lawsuit by their own admission. So that brings us to the end of This Week in Wrestling, but I want to thank everyone for the response to last week's episode, as it was a great response, and because of that I'll now be doing this on a weekly basis. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's show. If you did, a like is greatly appreciated. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and most of all, enjoy the Royal Rumble. I'll catch you later.